Hi, we are going to be talking about order of operations today. So, this is our order of operations. We will be using parentheses, brackets, or braces to evaluate expressions. But this is whenever you're solving mathematical equations, what order that you are supposed to go in to solve. The point of this is that you will be able to use parentheses, brackets, or braces in numerical expressions when using order of operations to evaluate these expressions. So let's look at the best way to remember it is to kind of remember these little expressions. So a numerical expression can be solved using this one, which is GEMS. So that is grouping symbols first, and then exponents, multiply and divide, and then subtract and add. So grouping symbols, those are like your parentheses, your brackets, and then your exponents, so those are the little ones up high, and then multiply and divide, they are at the same time, and you always will work from left to right. So just like when you read left to right, you will be working math left to right as well. And then you add and subtract are also at the same level, so you just do them from left to right. Another one that you might hear is PEMDAS. So that would be parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The only reason why I also showed you the GEMS is because it's not always parentheses. There might be brackets or braces, and multiplication and division are actually happening at the same time. So even though in this one it does say multiplication first, it is in the same order together. So that's just moving from left to right, as well as addition and subtraction as well. So I wanted to show both so that then you knew what PEMDAS meant, but then you also have another one in case the multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction gets confusing. So grouping symbols is always going to be first. So these are your different options. These are parentheses, and then we have brackets are like the little square ones, and then braces are the ones with the little curves in them. You will work from the inside out in these. So you will solve all numerical expressions that are inside parentheses, even if there's exponents in the problem, but if it's a parentheses and it has addition in it, you're doing that first. Why? Because it's grouped first. Solve all numerical expressions inside those brackets, then all of those inside the braces. So typically it is in this order, so you will do parentheses first, then brackets, braces are last as far as grouping symbols go. The second step is your exponents. So you will evaluate the powers of any exponents in the equation. So examples are like 3 raised to the second power. So you will do 3 times 3, and that will be 9. So then wherever you saw 3 to the second power in the equation, you will now replace it with 9. Same thing if it was 4 raised to the third power, you will do 4 times 4 times 4, and that would be 64. So you would replace this 4 to the third power with a 64 instead in the problem and continue solving and finish. Multiplication and division, these again happen at the same time, so you will always multiply and divide and the whole problem, just moving your way through from left to right. So you'll be starting at the beginning of the problem and work your way through. If there's addition and subtraction questions, you do not do those yet. You do all the multiplication and division first. Then the last step is addition and subtraction. And again, you will also move from left to right in this. So solving all addition and subtraction last. So an example would be, if we have this problem here, 72 minus our bracket here, or sorry, our brace here, 2 times this bracket, 4 times this parentheses, 10 minus 3. Then we had plus 2, and we closed those groups. So the very first thing we're going to do is solve that parentheses right here, the 10 minus 3. So we rewrite everything the same. We just solved that first. So now that's a 7. Then we solved our next grouping, which would be our bracket. So that would be the 4 times 7, which is 28. So then we would continue to solve that. 28 plus the 2 that's inside of our bracket, that is now 30. So everything else you'll notice, it stays the same because we haven't done those yet. And then we are now on our brace. So that would be 2 times this 30, which is why they have a 60 here. So then you have 72 minus 60, which gets you to our answer of 12. So I want you to go ahead and practice on these. Pause the screen, pause the video if you need to, and solve 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. Keep in mind that after the decimal point is the question, so don't include these in the actual solutions of the problem. And then we'll reveal the answers in a little bit. So pause and solve first. All right, so for answers, we have in the first one, there is 64, 2 is 55, 3 is 7, and 4 is 66. And I will also be adding at the end a breakdown document of all of the solutions and how you should have gotten those answers. So to recap, GEMS is the one that I kind of think is much easier to understand. Grouping symbols are first, then you solve exponents, multiply and divide, and then finally subtract and addition. You always move from left to right in a number expression. So you should be able to use parentheses, brackets, or braces and numerical expressions when using order of operations to evaluate them. And that is all that I have here today, so thank you.